Thursday night football is usually a very, very, very good game. But ladies and gentlemen, last night we were treated to probably one of the best games of this entire season between two NFC North teams that are not only contending for the title of the Kings of the North, but possibly for Green Bay an outside shot of stealing the number one seed if everything were to fall aside for the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles, if the wheels completely fell off. But they were going into Detroit last night to take on a foe that is quite possibly the best team in the entire league. Discussion for another time and another day. But Griff, man, is Dan Campbell the coach of the year, or is Dan Campbell the coach of the year for different reasons? That was a phenomenal game. We both called this game. It was going to be an extremely close game and an entertaining game where both teams were going to take chances. Primarily Jordan Love was going to be that gunslinger that many people call him. And it turned out exactly how I thought it would. It will come down to a late field goal by a kicker that we have been given the business to all year, those kickers. But this time I just felt that it was going to be on the positive side. So congrats to those Detroit Lions. Did this game kind of play out how you thought it would? And did anything come out of this game that you did not know about either team?
One, I found out that, and I won't say this because I've always known that Dan Campbell believed in his players and his players believe in him. I mean, they went for it on fourth down 5 times last night. You see what Troy said, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, put them sweatpants on. Put them sweatpants on.
I'm on a fixed. Hey, I'm retired, man. I'm on a fixed income, man. We got to watch what we do when it comes to the league up here. What I saw was, man, a coach that believed in his team and believed in his players. I wasn't expecting it to be a high-scoring game. Green Bay did exactly what I said that they should have done the other day, and that was be able to establish a run, because the first half they was kind of stagnant, but in that second half, man, Josh Jacobs had a pretty good game, and Jordan Love didn't really make no mistakes. The problem was that even Detroit, as bad as they was hurt, they were still able to get to Jordan Love. That defense, 13 players they was missing on the defensive side of the ball, so some of these guys was just playing in that system for the first time that they just picked up off somebody else's team. So it's a scary thing because they was able to stop the run basically from the two-headed monster, which forced Goff to do what he did. And man, that team just let me know even more they're the most scariest team in the league right now.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely a discussion between them, Philadelphia, and the Kansas City Chiefs, depending on what perspective you're looking at. But it did speak volumes, one, about how confident Dan Campbell is in his approach, in his philosophy, in his belief that the team will get the job done, regardless of whether or not it's on the offense and going for it on fourth down at every opportunity, regardless of whether or not we're on the opponent's 20-yard line or our 20-yard line, regardless of whether it's 15 minutes on the clock or 15 seconds on the clock. And if it's a game-winning situation or it's early in the fourth quarter, his approach does not change. Foot on the gas, pedal to the metal, all the way. We are going to ride this Detroit train all the way to NOLA in February to a Super Bowl championship. That is what he believes in. That is what he preaches. And that is what that team shows up every single weekend to display. Now, whether or not they are going to actually do that, that is yet to be seen and proven on the field. But right now, I can't sit here and say, Griff, you're wrong when you say that this is the scariest team in the NFL. Because with 13 players on injured reserve, and it's not like it was just any 13, right? These are 13 key players. You know what I mean? Like, these are players that get up on game day to make those plays, to get their name in the paper and on highlight reels. And to have the same approach, the same aggressiveness, and the same result. Because even if they were healthy and all of the starters were starting, you would have had this type of game, in my opinion, because Green Bay is that good. It is just that Detroit is just that much better. And I would not be surprised if these two teams see each other in the playoffs. And after Detroit beating Green Bay in both occasions in the regular season, Green Bay knocking Detroit off. That is just how good the Green Bay Packers are. And I have to agree with you, man. I am thoroughly impressed as to how well of a season Josh Jacobs having, how much of an impact he is having on that offense. As goes Josh Jacobs, so goes the Green Bay Packers. It's not how Love is playing, it is how effective Josh Jacobs is playing or how effective he is in a particular game. That is the difference for the Packers. They've lost 4 games. 2 of them to the Detroit Lions, 1 to the Philadelphia Eagles, and then 1 to another, I think might have been Buffalo or somebody. So it's not like they lost games to scrubs, and they lost those games close. So Green Bay is right there. They are not, the kings of the north, but they are knocking on the door, waiting for the king to slip up, because they can definitely go to the Super Bowl if, like you said, Jordan Love continues to play mistake-free. Why you don't want me to mention Josh Jacobs, Troy? All y'all had to do was give him $50 more per calendar day, and he would have stayed in Las Vegas. But y'all much rather wanted to pay that quarterback, Gardner Minshew, the man, the myth, the legend. But we will not talk about the Raiders tonight.